about how long people keep cars when it goes live. Go ahead.
Okay,
I'm
let's
good.
go. Oh, hey everybody. Welcome back to Fast Charging with B&B, episode 53. I'm Brian.
I'm Bear.
He says he's Bear. I don't know when to believe him and when not to. But
I'm Bear
we decided
whenever I'm live.
after much deliberation that after the 52nd episode we should probably do some more. I thought it was going to be a year and done. I mean, that's what I signed up for.
Yeah, that's what my contract said.
You have a contract.
I don't know. A quick question for everybody, and put it in all of our chats because we have so many running. How long do you keep a car on average? You personally? Just kind of curious. Brian and I were debating that.
Yeah, because we've seen studies that say anything from 8 years to longer. 8 years for the longest held, 8 years for the average. I've held very, very few cars that long, and no primary cars. It's always like a second car or something that we've held longer.
Like sitting in your front yard on blocks?
It's sitting in front of my garage. It's not on blocks, but it does need a battery.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So shall we get right into this?
I think so, because we got a lot of links today. Did you know that European Union has followed California, New York, Washington, and other state steps? No more new combustion engines from 2035 for light-duty vehicles. It doesn't apply to dump trucks and whatnot. But the gas cars' days are numbered.
Is there a guideline on what's considered light duty in Europe?
Well, I assumed Europe was light-duty.
Yeah, most of it is. But like would I hate to use this as a comparison, a Ford Super Duty, those are F-250s and 350s. Would those be considered above the light duty? Is it a weight? Is it a engine size or something like that?
Or a cargo capacity? I don't know. I don't believe they're the 250s and 350s are sold there. But
No, I don't believe so either.
but
But
they
there's got to
could
be
be.
some sort of equivalent. Though
Yeah.
I'm sure they wouldn't do as well
they could be. They could be.
because everybody here wants a pickup truck.
Yeah. So just that. You know, Toyota, by the way, has changed their EV electrification strategy to ramp it up quite a bit, and their retooling cost is estimated to be $70 billion over 9 years.
Good change.
Yeah, we shall see.
Just print some more money and you're good.
You've got quite a Muppet on your shoulder. Is that a cartoon? Is that a puppet parrot? Oh, there it goes. So long,
he's
carpet
stretching.
dog.
Yeah.
So the
Okay, he's gone for now. Sorry.
so Porsche is now testing their tri-motor Taycan. You know, the old 2 in the trunk, 1 in the front configuration.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It'll be fast.
Yeah, I actually saw 2 of these yesterday. The Taycan. It's not the tri-motor, I
Right.
assume, but they're like really growing on me. I really kind of like the look of them. Nice big sedan, probably fast, and now that they've revised their range on the Porsches, it makes me more interested in them. So I like them.
Yeah, I think they're absolutely beautiful. They're a performance machine. They have far better brakes than the Plaid, more appropriate brakes, I would argue.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it'll be great.
not as great as the Volkswagen Buzz.
Yeah, they've got 20,000 orders for it.
Wow, and that's all in Europe.
No, I believe it includes the U.S., but the real problem is you got to make them. Plan is
Yeah.
to produce 15,000 by the end of this year, then gradually ramp to 130,000 at some point in the future. So, I mean, great. Build them. Just
Yeah. So they have 2 months to make 15,000, or have they already made some of these?
I think they've made some, but I believe that their timelines are realistic. I believe they know what they're doing in terms of production. It's not like when a startup or even Tesla announce their targets that they sometimes fall short. But
Yeah.
we shall see.
speaking of seeing things,
BMW boss defends XM styling. I want it to be ugly.
you think he watched our video when we
Must
were
have.
talking about all the things that it looks like?
Must have. Must have. If statistically, with a combined 1,000 or two views, surely he must have seen our video.
Oh yeah, there's not that many people on the planet.
No, no. BMW's raised more than a few eyebrows with its recent design on purpose. Because if we make them attractive, people are going to start buying them, and that's the last thing we want.
Well, the rear end looks kind of nice, and I'm talking about the rear end on the back, not the rear end on the front.
That's great. Yeah, it's
Yeah, that was too easy.
it's fine. It's fine. Is there a reason you have to make your electric car look goofy all the time? Well, the answer is apparently there is. Apparently that's how we do it.
Yeah, it's I don't even like the rims on that thing. I
No,
mean,
no.
the color's kind of awful.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
And
But-
then the big
but-
ass face.
but-
Ass face.
The VW group is making some good looking cars.
Oh, you must be referring to the e-Tron.
Yeah, the Audi e-Tron.
Yeah, boy, that really looks similar to the Taycan, doesn't it?
Boy, it's almost as if they share some DNA.
Yeah, yeah. Weird.
Yeah, yeah. But when I do that, I get in trouble. The transformation of the automobile industry occurs through multiple. Anyway, the idea is they're going to make fewer A8s and more e-Trons. And great. Audi sold more than 15,000 already, which is, I guess, something. How many Lucids have been sold? How many Lucids were on the lot the other day?
Someone counted it. I think they came up with like 750.
Yeah.
So, and they're putting them everywhere. Obviously, you watched the video. Thanks. I hope you hit the like button.
No,
But yeah, they're storing them everywhere. It's obviously got to be a car hauler issue.
I was going to hit the like button, but first of all, I didn't
like
like
it.
the video or the host, and it costs too much money. It costs money to hit the like button, does it? You know
Yeah,
what you guys should do just to prove it is you guys should hit the like button now and see what happens.
Yeah, let us know what it costs you to hit that like button.
Yeah.
Because I've got, is that right? I got 39 people on? Sweet.
Wow.
But only 11 likes. So come on, guys.
Weak.
Let us know what it costs you on average.
So the Audi, I think it looks great. It does look a lot like the Taycan. If you keep building them, people will keep buying them. That's my advice, Audi. Build more. Sell more.
I like it, but not as I like the Taycan better.
What do you think of the Charger?
Charger, I really like, except for that one picture. There's one picture. It looks like a Camaro.
Yeah, I feel like they had their camera settings all wrong and tried to fix it in post.
Yeah, there's a picture of the passenger side. If you scroll down a little bit, it looks like a Camaro, like a current model Camaro, except the rear window is extended out.
Kind of does, doesn't it?
But I do like it. When that order list comes out, I'm going to be on it, but I'm going to be really confused on what to order.
Why's that? Just get either what do they have? Two different motor configurations to pick from?
They have 9 different motor configurations. So where do you even begin?
Are they all software limited? Because if you're building 9 different motors, even 4 different motors is too many, I assume. And then what? Can we unlock it?
Well, what it is that it maybe the configurations may be like additional motors, possibly, because some of these are going to be like equivalent to the Demon and the Hellcat and things like that. So they want to make a high-end, very expensive EV that's probably going to be beyond fast, because most EVs will beat a regular Charger or Challenger right now. The Challenger and the Charger share the same line right now with the ICE engines, but they still do have a massive amount of configurations that you can get with the ICE engine. And I think they're sticking with that because people want these in different levels. Some people want them cheaper, but they want it for the looks. Other people want it because they go fast. And other people may want it because of the nice sound that comes out of it.
Well, the Dodge CEO knows you don't like its EV exhaust note.
Because it's stupid.
It's dumb. It's dumb. If you want to make an exhaust note for an EV, at least make it futuristic. I mean, why not just make it sound like a steam locomotive?
Or an alien spaceship. One of the big things about that you get from a car that makes a lot of noise like that with a loud exhaust is you get the rumble. It's not the sound, it's the what you feel. And even when you have a car that's heavily modded or just with a crappy exhaust goes past you, you still feel it.
Right.
And you're not going to feel it from a speaker. You're just not going to. So I don't know what they're going to do about that. I mean, I think it's kind of a joke.
Yeah, yeah, but but I was going to say on the configuration options, it would make sense to software limit the horsepower if you're not putting on serious brakes. But
well, brakes are part of their packages when you start getting the upgrades.
Right, but that's what I mean is the base would have a software limited amount of horsepower because the brakes and tires are inappropriate for 500-600 horsepower.
You know what they could do, which would be a great marketing concept? If the motors were actually the same in some of the levels, but software limited, is actually sell the upgrade like Tesla does. Like on the Model Y, you can buy for $2,000. You can upgrade your performance through the app, and it's just a matter of clicking a couple buttons and making sure your credit card has some money available. And I know with the Model Y, you can increase your 0 to 60 in like 0.6 seconds for $2,000. Now they could sell that as something that's additional also, and make some extra money for people who like, well, I like the car, it's fast, but I want to go faster type of thing.
Yes,
that's got to be the reason why they do it with Tesla, and it's just another ad, and it's absolutely free once that software is designed and put into the app. There's no cost.
There actually is, though. You would be wise to increase your warranty reserves because that performance will put strain on other parts.
Yeah, but
And
more
the
than likely
battery.
they'll wreck the car before that happens.
It is a Dodge.
Yeah, you're making me think of my dead Challenger also. Thanks for bringing up that memory. Apparently they can't get T-boned by an Equinox and stay alive. So
Do you know Rivian's
Safety risk.
postponing deliveries of trucks with the largest battery until 2024?
And that's really a damn shame, because I'm all about range when it comes to EVs, and it's disappointing to see that being held off. I assume they're doing that because they want to put out more trucks. I'm assuming, or battery, supply limited.
I wonder
that's
what
too bad.
I wonder what the longer range battery would put your curb weight up to. Did you know? Are you a big fan of tonneau covers?
I actually have a tonneau cover on one of my vehicles.
Do you know that apparently the tonneau covers are on hold right now?
Because I heard that they're crap.
Yes, they are not getting good reviews, and apparently
Yeah.
It's not just that they sound bad and are they're just not working, and it's a problem. But
Do you know what that tonneau cover costs? Like when you're in your build?
no.
I don't know either. I was
Oh,
just
I thought.
wondering
Well, they are offering a discount for people who get either a manual one. I think you get $600 off, and no cover at all. In which case, you get $1,500 off. Both of which are insulting as hell, because that's
It
ridiculous.
depends. I think it depends on what it is, or how much it costs to begin with. What was the price?
Well, if you dropped something on it and broke it and needed to replace it, it'd be $10,000. I don't know what it costs them, but I think a $600 discount to go from power to manual is inadequate.
I'm just saying if that's what it costs to add it onto your truck when you're buying it, then I think that's fair. But if that upgrade went from, cost you $3,000, but they'll only give you 600 back, then
But it
that,
wasn't an option. It was always included.
oh, the tonneau cover comes with the Rivian?
Yes, yes.
Oh, well, that's crap then.
That's a bad deal. It's a bad
Yeah.
deal. It's a bit unfair, I think. Is my takeaway.
I'm interested to see how the tonneau cover is going to work on the Cybertruck.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it looks like the one on the Cybertruck is just a simple rolling one, where this one is stacking slats.
I haven't seen it. But the Cybertruck I'm pretty sure, was going to be a powered one also. So I guess maybe Rivian over-engineered it and not correctly, just made it too complicated.
David says, "I'm willing to cut them some slack because I want them to succeed." Agree completely. And again, it's a first effort. I'll cut them slack for that.
Yeah. Well, me and you are not here to cut these companies slack. We are here to point out the things that make you go, ooh, because all the good stuff it's
And
not
then
good
cut
news.
slack.
Yeah. I mean,
this
I could be forgiving,
See,
but not today.
not today.
And speaking of things that I'll never forgive, the Chevy Bolt.
What about it?
It's ugly. It was catching fire. It's old tech. And GM is selling the Chevy Bolt like hotcakes.
I didn't know Chevy
And
sold hotcakes.
yeah, yeah, it's an interesting comparison. Maybe if they said they were selling them like the Silverado or selling them like something that they sell a lot of, but I don't think they sell any hotcakes. And I'm not sure the last time I bought a hotcake. I mean, is that a thing?
Yeah, it comes as a side dish at Denny's.
Does it really? Okay. So this article is interesting because it starts off with it about the Bolt, but then it shows a picture of the Blazer, which is cool and all. But I've talked about this last couple of weeks. The car dealership that I hang around at for some reason, they sell Bolts there brand new, and they've been going out the door like crazy. They tried to sell me one.
I mean,
said
you do
no.
buy kind of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, but the Bolt is I've looked it up. It doesn't get much for rentals on Toro, so that's like the first thing. And then the second thing is I don't like how fast they don't charge because they're limited to 50 kilowatts, and that will put a strain on the business when you're trying to get cars charged up, and you've got one that's going to be like, "I'll be there soon. Wait for me, guys." I don't have time for that.
Yeah, and soon, even as vague as it is, in German, there's two different words for soon. There's soon in a few minutes and soon in a few days. And I think that's the kind of soon that they're using.
I mean, you never know. One of them could show up in my driveway one day, but it's funny because they start off at like you can get them like in the 20,000 for the base model, but the EUV or the UEV, whichever it is, which is slightly larger, that still gets you back up into the 40+ thousand range. And you know what? Come on, if I'm spending that much money, I'm gonna find me a EV6 or something else that's gonna be close that price range and much cooler.
Who is this said, if you buy a Bolt, you lose your nuts.
See, that's another reason. I knew that.
And of course, I did have to point out, JJ correctly pointed out that Mary led.
Oh yeah, she's totally leading.
Yeah.
We've got a whole bunch of Mary leading articles.
They're leading in their plans to build 400,000 EVs in North America later than expected.
Because it hasn't been able to make batteries fast enough.
Wait a
Come
minute.
on, Mary.
Wait a minute. You're telling me that batteries are a constraint? Because I feel like somebody else might have mentioned that 10 years ago.
Someone. Interesting in the picture that they have there of Mary, there's two Hummers back there, and that represents their complete production.
Yeah, that's
for
more than they
fourth quarter of
sold in
last year.
Q4.
Yeah. Well, and that's too bad. I've got a couple of GMs on order, and I hate to see it delayed but it is what it is. Good thing it's like I'm not in a hurry. But they'll come out eventually. Just I really need to like to see that uh, progress on the production line because it's still not there yet.
Mary did say all of our 2023 launches are progressing well. Oh, Mary.
Okay, that's this Silverado, the Denali,
The Blazer.
the Blazer. Though actually, the Silverado may not be. It's actually going to be a 2024 model when it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that excludes the Silverado and the Denali. So that leaves the Blazer and the Equinox, I believe.
And the Lyric is already out, and the Celestique shall be out
That
eventually.
Yeah, and that doesn't count. That's not a mass production car.
Barra wants
They
to
can
build
get-
1 million EVs in North America by 2025. Yeah, I want them to as well.
I just got lost in my articles.
Is that
Yeah.
going to happen, though? Do you think they'll hit
No.
1 million EVs by 2025?
By 2025.
Because that gives us all of 3 and 4 to ramp. I still think they're going to fall short. 1 million is a lot.
I think they're going to fall short by 9,432.
I think
Write
they're
it down.
all right. I'll take the
They're,
under.
they're just going to miss it.
They're gonna miss it. I think they might miss it by more than 9,000 units. They might be off by more than 1%.
9,432.
I don't know if they'll get to 1 million cumulative sold by then, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, it's almost like something's going to happen where they're almost going to like ready to release the plug on the drain.
Like
and
what?
everything's
What
just
could
gonna pour
possibly
out. I don't.
spur it? GM EVs will qualify for the full $7,500 tax credit in 2 to 3 years, says Maribara.
Yeah, I believe she's talking about the batteries and what is where they're sourced at, and they need to fix that so that they can get the full credits.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to take a lot of work, but I think if they've got a path to it, then they can get it done. As long
And
as there's
battery
no major
factories are
problems.
being built in the U.S. all over the place. We think out of the gate we're going to get the 3750, and then we should be able to get to the 7500 in a couple of years after that. That'd be great. What vehicle is this? The gray one? Is that the Equinox?
That's the Equinox, yeah.
I don't mind it.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do with a CUV shape.
Yeah, and I don't think that they've opened up orders for the Equinox. They did for the Blazer, but they did not for the Equinox. They just put out the information that, hey, we're going to be making them. But no orders available yet for them. And they're going to be cheaper than the Blazer, so I think they'll do really well with that.
Hockey Day says the Bolt is the new old Leaf.
Just real quick, Lockbird was stating the prices of the Bolts in my chat, stating that the regular Bolt EV starts at $26,595 and the EUV starts at $28,195. Those are correct numbers, but the problem is every one of them that I see are loaded with options. They're not coming in at the base price, and that just brings the price up into 40s for the EUV on
Yeah.
every one that I saw. And I'm going to say I looked at least 10 of them. So,
And that's frustrating. Do you know
but it's also a fact.
Do you know the GMC EV Hummers are sold out for 2 years or more?
Yeah, that is it's quite the thing. And by the way, I've only seen them in white.
You know
And-
what? I have only seen them in white. And look down the line. They're all...
Yeah, they're all white. The ones I've seen on the road have been white. The ones that I saw a car hauler with 6 of them on there, 5 or 6. They were all white. And every time I see a real picture of them, they're white.
The
two
ones behind
Mary,
her-
they were white.
Yeah, the ones behind her were white. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess if I want to make sure I'm like up at the top of the list, I got to go with white. And white doesn't look bad. So I'm not complaining about
Well,
it.
there's a render here in a different color. Does that count?
Render. Render alert. Render alert. Yeah. Certainly doesn't count. Yeah, so sold out for 2 years, and
You know what
it's
they
only back. They're only backed by $100 deposits, refundable deposits.
you know what they should do is make a smaller, much smaller Hummer.
Like maybe with two wheels.
Do you think you could make a two-wheeled Hummer? What color would it be?
White.
Of course. Why? What? Well, it has to match the real one in the real picture, so it's going to be white. You know who they should
Yeah.
hire to make these is Radio Flyer. I hear they have an excellent track record. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Okay,
you
so you saw
recall?
that tweet, huh? Yeah.
Yes.
Brian's referring to Tesla's Cyberquad for kids. Every single one of them was built by Radio Flyer, and every single one of them was recalled not for repairs, but for your money back because they were unsafe at any speed, apparently.
So they weren't unsafe. It's that. So you have to, because they didn't qualify as a kid's vehicle. They qualified as an ATV, and for that you have to have a safety brochure. You have to have weight and training requirements, I guess. And as a kid's vehicle, they just didn't do that. So they're like, well, we've got $5 million worth of them out. Do you want to spend $10 million certifying it, or just buy them back? And they know very few people, I'm sure, are going to ask for their money back.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll tell you what, they're not an ATV. It is definitely a kid's toy. I had one. I drove on one. It's not. It's nothing more than they Radio Flyer made the same thing, but other versions of them for other companies. And I don't know if they had the same problem with them, but it's a kid's toy. It really is.
Did you hear what
And
the
it's
injury was that spurred the recall? Did we talk about that?
No, we didn't talk about that.
So an 8-year-old was driving. His mom was on the back of this one-seat vehicle.
Which
She
has a weight limit, which is already in
over the
reach.
weight limit, already over the passenger limit. It fell over, and she bruised her arm.
Aww.
So obviously we have to recall every last one ever made for safety.
You know what her name was, right?
Mary Barra? No, what?
Karen.
Oh, yeah, that sounds right. That tracks.
Yeah, there's no doubt that her first name was Karen because she complained that she did something wrong, got injured for it, and now it's someone else's problem.
Do you see what the price is on this?
Yeah, it's $39.99. $39.99. It goes up to 28 miles per hour.
That seems...
And
I don't know what those normally cost, but that seems high to me.
it is high, but a lot of these electric bikes go for like $1,000 to $2,000, and you can go higher than that. And also, it is cheaper than the regular Hummer. So you got to keep that in mind, and you still get a Hummer.
You should buy 35 of these instead of a Hummer.
No.
No. Just
No.
no.
Yeah, I would be scared shitless riding on one of these at 28 miles per hour.
Yeah. So do you know
yeah.
the Blazers also EV reservations are full?
Yeah, I got all of the reservations myself. I'll be selling them as the time gets closer.
Good.
So I booked them all. I think it's a good looking car. I think it looks very similar to the Blazers that are out now also. If you look at the current model Blazer, very similar lines, but this is all new. So it's going to be all cool. But I like it. That's why I've ordered two.
Yeah, it looks fine. The specs look fine. I mean, that is, 557 horsepower, 648 pound-feet of torque. That's consequential.
Yeah, it really is. And it's got decent range between 247 and 320. Who knows, maybe by the time it comes out, maybe they're sandbagging themselves and they'll go a little bit higher on that. You never know.
And it charges
So-
at 190 kilowatts, which is
That's good.
Good.
Not great.
yeah, not industry leading, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, do you know why so many cars choose not to do vehicle to grid power storage? Do you know what it would take?
Well, I know you need a different cable, but what is it that you're actually talking
A
about?
whole bunch of chips. It needs a whole bunch of chips, is what Sandy Monroe told me. So it's not as simple as software. It's significantly more complicated.
Okay.
Yeah, William wanted to know what's happening with the 4680. We don't have any 4680 news this week. We believe the ramp is still going. That's all we know.
All right. And next,
JJ, are you still
up.
here?
Yeah, JJ, we need you.
Calling JJ. I'll let you take the lead on this.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Next up, Nikola. Or, I'm sorry. I'm going to restart that. Next up, Nikola. I'm working so hard to pronounce it correctly. And I'm failing. Nikola in K-State, that's how you pronounce that. I know it says Key, but it's K-State. Announced innovative hydrogen supply collaboration to support Nikola fuel cell electric vehicles. They are working on a hydrogen hub somewhere in Pennsylvania. So that will be able to supply hydrogen on the East Coast, or at least the Northeast, and making 100 metric tons per day of low carbon hydrogen. Not clean, but what? I know, Brian, you're dying to say something.
No. Clean hydrogen is very expensive. That's all.
You know, there's stepping stones and there's a path to it, but you got to take the path instead of just jumping into it, because then it doesn't work.
All right.
I know you
100
disagree.
metric tons a day. Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. The facility that they're building in Arizona, I think when it's maxed out, I think it's going to be at 80. So that's pretty good. 100 is more than what they're doing over here.
Neat. Well, that's all the Nikola news we have.
No, we just got a little update.
What do we get?
Tomorrow morning at 6:30 Pacific time, I will be sitting here in my pajamas. Sorry about that noise. I'll be sitting here in my pajamas live streaming the Nikola earnings report tomorrow at 6:30 a.m.
What
So,
expectations do you have? Give us a preview.
What my expectations is somebody write this down and remind me tomorrow. I'm saying 68 trucks. I'm saying income of $24.2 million in sales.
Huh. That's very specific.
Yeah.
Do you have a source?
What? No. Math. I use math. 68 times 350,000. Then I added a little bit on for a couple of trailers that they may have sold.
I'm still surprised you can read.
It was in big block letters.
Well, you know, that you can do math too. I mean, your resume's getting a bit full there, mister.
Yeah, it was all phonetic, including the numbers. So I'm good.
Well, that'll be exciting to see. Do you have any idea when they're going to start shipping hydrogen trucks?
Yes. They will be shipping them next year, probably late in the year. They've got their betas for their fuel cells, and they look surprisingly nice. And
How so?
well, they had the fuel cell pack on the back, and it was just kind of there on the previous trucks, on the Alphas, but they put a nice plastic shroud over it, and it looks like it's put together very well now. It looks a lot more modern and more aerodynamic with the shroud that they put over it. But they will be shipping them out probably late next year. The Gammas are supposed to be built this year also, and in our flyovers we have seen more hydrogen tanks, the kind that actually go onto the truck, stored outside. They tried to hide them from us, but we got them. So they're going to have the Gammas, which is going to be the last ones before the actual, I don't know if they're going to have another version of prototypes or if they're just going to start building them. But you do know, Brian, that these hydrogen trucks are going to be built on the same line as the battery electric.
They should be. I mean, shouldn't I mean, why wouldn't they be?
Well, because they're different in a sense, but they're going to build them on the same line, obviously, because of the cost savings that is going to be involved in that. But it is going to be quite different coming down the line. They are going to have a separate section because things are going to be very different for all the parts, from batteries to hydrogen tanks to all the parts that you need to get the fuel cells attached. They're going to need a fuel cell line where they have to put all that together, and then it joins the truck. So,
I have, well, and the building is already expanding, so I'm not worried about that aspect of it. And if it's late next year, they've got plenty of time to get that sorted out. So do you know who the biggest car manufacturers are?
well, I do because I took a quick peek at this, but it's supposed to be Toyota, isn't it?
Yeah, usually Toyota and VW are in the top. GM is close to the top. So we just got Toyota's financials, and it turns out that they did have a 5% year-over-year increase in sales, and they are now making almost as much operating profit as Tesla.
Almost.
What the heck? That is breathtaking. You're like 30% off.
Yeah, the one clear takeaway that I get from this, well, no, there's several clear takeaways, but one, Tesla could lower the price of the vehicles. Now, one of the reasons they're not is because they're using all that profit to facilitate all the expansion that they need to. And I think eventually, because of using all that money that suckers like me, not a sucker, that are buying the cars, we are financing their new operations, which will eventually lower the price of the cars. And I still think the cars are worth it, but they are getting expensive. So
You do know
30%
that
margin.
they already cut prices in China this month.
Yeah, I'm not buying a car in China.
Well, you should, because they're made in Shanghai, which has exceptional quality, and they're less expensive than here.
Yeah. So, well, it does show that the price of the vehicles they do have room to go down in the future, especially as Tesla improves on their manufacturing line, because that is a big part of Tesla is cutting costs and improving the line to be more efficient instead of staying in the old ways that all these legacy automakers have been doing and not trying things new like castings, things like batteries, electric motors, things like that.
Yeah. Have you seen the trailing 12 months net income of the U.S. automakers?
Yeah, I think they should have
Ford
put
having a
Tesla
little
in
dip
green. Red looks negative to me, but yeah, that's Tesla just shooting up. I don't mean like with heroin, but shooting up in sales, in income.
I've
And
never
that's
tried it, but the people who use it seem to really love it.
yeah.
Well, I've seen many documentaries about it. They just can't get enough of the stuff until they
Yeah.
do, and then and then they stop. Then they stop.
Yeah, everything. They stop everything.
Yeah.
So maybe they should start shooting up with Tesla.
Yes, or Jesus. I hear that's probably a thing. So the trailing 12 months net income looking pretty tasty. Got another chart here. Amazon versus Tesla operating income. I went a little too far there. Yeah, that's
All right, you want to hear my takeaway from this one?
yes.
The next pandemic will be spread by Amazon in their little boxes that they deliver to you, because they do a whole lot better during a pandemic than they do outside of a pandemic. So
Yeah.
next time we start getting some sort of Amazon bird flu, it's going to be from Amazon, delivered to your door.
Yeah.
Oh, you're sick. You can't go out now.
That's all it takes for them to get to those huge numbers is everyone else being closed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't everyone, but it was a lot. And people didn't want to leave their house. And I can't blame them.
I wanted to leave every moment I was there.
Yeah.
Kids home from school for a year.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
We do have another chart here. U.S. electric vehicle sales. I might need to zoom in on this guy.
There's
Top two spots, Model 3 and Y. Not surprising. But boy, is that a margin.
Yeah, that's quite the difference.
Yeah. Mach-E at 10,000. Ioniq at 9. Yeah. The Leaf, the original mass market EV, 5,800. That's not good, Nissan. Get your act together. ID4, 3,370. Sandy does not care for the ID4. Sandy Monroe had a good look at it, and he is not impressed.
Oh, it's not an impressive car, but Sandy looks at it different ways than I would. But there's my Taycan.
Well, right above it is the plug-in hybrid Escape. You only made 2,800 of the Escape hybrid? Okay.
Why is that? I would have thought they would have made more of those.
Yeah, because you can't. I know that's a Ford, not a GM, but you can't blame battery supply as aggressively on your inability to make hybrids when the battery is so much smaller. So this list is. Hopefully, we'll see these, all of these numbers increase next year and in the future.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't realize that the sales of these plug-in hybrids are so crappy. And most of it, as you go down, you realize that most of these, especially going down lower, are plug-in hybrids. I wonder where the Jeep is, because did you know the Jeep Wrangler has a plug-in model?
I did not. Did you know Jeep in China just went broke?
That's what I heard. That's what's all over the internet.
Ideal. Yeah, the BMW 7 Series plug-in hybrid has sold 62 this year. If you want an exclusive car, that is it.
Yeah, there is a Jeep plug-in hybrid, Wrangler. I've seen them. Almost thought about buying one, and then I said no, it's a plug-in hybrid. But at that time they did qualify for the full $7,500 rebate. Oh.
Ford E-Transit 1,400. That's encouraging. I don't see Bright Drop on here. Well, no matter. No matter. Fun chart. This one I saw and I loved it. This is put out by Guidehouse Insights, a consulting firm, and they're saying, you know what? You need to consider who the leaders and followers are in self-driving, in autonomy. And these metrics are just who knows where they came up with them. But Waymo leading, NVIDIA Argo, Cruise just below Argo, and of course Tesla way over here with terrible execution, terrible strategy. There's some that are missing from this list, I'm sure. The Chinese ones I can't really speak to. I've heard they're all serious contenders. Mobileye, one of the most strategic and execution-wise leaders. Do you know why this is nonsense, Bear?
I do.
Yeah, because Ford and VW backed Argo AI is shutting down.
And even though this article is only 5 or 6 days old, there should have been some signs to the people putting together that chart.
Insights.
That maybe this was, Argo is not number one in this. Because they're shutting down. They're done.
They're done.
So apparently, they're not a leader.
So they're not shutting down. They're shutting down, but the IP is going to be split up between VW and Ford, and the employees may get a notice that they can apply for their job back at the new company. What are you going to do with half of a full self-driving suite? How are you dividing up your IP? This is the opposite of encouraging.
Yeah.
But, the good news is they said Mobileye is right up there. How are they doing?
Mobileye?
Yeah, Comma AI. I goofed it. It doesn't matter. If I was going to do a condensed version of this, I'd fix it, but I'm not. Comma AI founder GeoHot is stepping down from the company.
He's a youngster.
Yeah, 32. Well, he was a real whiz kid. He was the first person to unlock the iPhone. But this is crazy. A lot of people
I unlocked my iPhone by putting in the passcode. I mean, I don't really see what the big deal is on that.
Yeah, well, people passcodes hadn't been invented back in the Stone Age, so the
00000.
that's
I unlocked my iPhone.
that's the launch codes. Did you know that? For like
It
40 years,
probably
that
is.
was the launch codes.
So you know the combination for my luggage?
Yeah, it's the same one. It's the same one. Dark Helmet uses, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. So there were a lot of people who looked at this company early on and said it is the one to beat because George Hotz is a very, very smart guy. But the approach, I would argue, is all wrong. It's just basically a little smartphone that's inadequate for the problem, I believe. So, I mean, I wish them well, but this is a very, very big challenge that's struggling. Who is this pointed out? The word I was looking for was jailbreak. He jailbroke the first iPhone.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, okay. I knew it was a different word. That's why I was kind of picking on you there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Totally fair. Totally fair. So, is that enough about autonomy? Should we move on?
I think it actually is enough about autonomy.
Do you know that new solar capacity is 10 times cheaper than gas? Yeah.
Which is weird because I can make gas for free. But
No, you can't. You have to go to Taco Bell.
that's true.
Yeah.
My dog can make it for free because he doesn't pay anything for his food.
Well, if you're stealing other people's food, you can do it. Sure.
Yeah,
That's why I
he's a
run
thief.
my Bitcoin farm off the city's power pole.
That's the way to do it.
I plug into the street light in front of my house. Yeah, and this isn't something we didn't know. We don't need to spend a lot of time on this. Solar has been among the cheapest grid scale solutions now for quite a few years. And it's just getting cheaper.
Yes, and it's an excellent way to power your bus fleet. When
This
you
Solar
combine-
Plus microgrid storage depot can charge 70 electric buses.
Not only does it supply that, it also gives energy back to the grid. It has battery packs, and it keeps the buses covered also, which is worth something, especially in Arizona.
Yeah.
And this is it looks like they've got these solar panels angled at a slight pitch both ways if
Yeah.
you look at it.
Interesting,
And
right?
yeah, that's interesting, but I'm sure they pulled it out for a reason and did it a certain way to get as much exposure as possible. So
Yeah. Unless it's also done for drainage. Doesn't rain often, but it rains a bit. But,
well, that's Maryland. It's going to rain a decent amount.
oh, that's
Not
true.
like-
That's
not like where
Maryland,
you're
my
at.
fault. Yes. This is great. There's a lot of subway-y people and a lot of trainy people and apparently a lot of bussy people. I'm pretty sure that's what they're called. Let's see here. Dynapower. Yeah, so this is great. And you have the space.
Yeah,
The space
you've
costs
already
you
got the buses there, so
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
no reason not to cover them.
And those
I-
pillars, those columns, don't look outrageously expensive either.
No,
Yeah.
no. I didn't tell you this, and I don't know if you saw it on Twitter when I posted it, or no, I don't even think we posted it yet, or did I? Ah, shit, I don't remember. Rivian, their Rivian Amazon bus or cargo van.
Yeah.
We tracked some down. We saw three earlier this week,
Neat.
last week, and we saw three of them, and we realized that they were coming from an Amazon hub a mile away from where we're at. So we actually drove onto Amazon's property and started snooping around. And like nobody stopped us. It was, they got better security at Nikola. So we drove around all the way through where all the vans were parked, and we found another 11 of the electric vans getting charged up. And this was after like many had already left. So I think we saw like 14 that day.
Wow.
and they had about 50 chargers all set up over there.
Wow.
So their capacity has got to be around 50 or more. We didn't count the chargers, but we're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We saw like 10 in a row, and then we saw like 5 rows. So we're like, okay, there's a lot of chargers here, you know? So those Rivian vans are getting out there. So hats off to Rivian.
Yeah, good start. Tritium and DC America are building a coast-to-coast EV fast-charging network. American-made and bipartisan infrastructure law-funded stations are built on skids for easy and fast deployment.
Where do you think they got that idea from?
It is unknown and unknowable. It's probably a brand new idea. I think there are either 0 or 1 other companies that do this.
Maybe Tesla should take this as a good idea of how to build charging stations quicker.
Oh, that's right. They're the one who has already done it.
Oh, yeah,
But there's
the
nothing
one.
wrong
That's
with.
right.
I hope competitors take the best ideas and go with them.
They absolutely should.
Yeah.
I'm not making fun of Tritium for doing this. I'm making fun of everyone who's not.
Yeah.
We talked about an article a couple weeks ago about I think it was a picture of Electrify America and a Tesla supercharger, and they're both opened, and how they were completely different. And from what I think you told me, is that whoever makes the Electrify America chargers, it's different per location. Like individual contractors are hired, go, oh, we need something that does this. And they all wire them with however they want, with whatever parts that they can find. And that's why they're so hard to repair, because everyone is different. Now, if Tritium has got a line going where they've got a pallet or whatever they're calling it, they're making them the same exact way and then shipping them out. Not giving some Joe Blow contractor a job to say, well, this is what we need, just bid on it and we'll pay you. And they all make them different. So this is great. Standardization is very important in this.
And the key was, I had some people in the comments later saying, well, they're supposed to spec in an item that does X, and it should be interchangeable. Right, it should. But invariably, when you're putting components together, there's gremlins you have to chase down. And if the gremlins are different in every configuration, you're going to have a hard time sorting it all out.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a yeah.
Yeah. We're doing good on time.
Brian, yeah.
Do you know Hyundai has broken ground on a $5.5 billion electric car plant in Georgia?
Yeah, Georgia's getting a lot of stuff lately.
Yeah. First The
That's gonna
Walking
be
Dead, and now this?
Yeah. I think that's what led everybody to Georgia.
That's kind of what the whole Made in Georgia Film Commission is about. Is just putting it on your radar.
Yeah, and if it has anything to do with what's going on there now, as far as production and manufacturing, well, great for them. So that's going to bring in 8,100 employees by 2025, make up to 300,000 electric vehicles per year. So not a big factory, I guess, compared to some, but I'm sure they'll be able to expand on that in the future as time goes on. And this will also help them with their tax credit situation.
And they plan to make 300,000 electric vehicles a year at the plant. That's serious volume.
Is my mic on?
No.
Okay, because I just said that.
Oh. I'm getting a weird thing where it's cutting out. I've just got the new and improved, brand new computer. And I'm still getting it a little configured. So I've got a couple gremlins to chase down too. Want to hear my fun one? If I try and plug in the second monitor, the Wi-Fi cuts off. So I got to figure that one out. And it's fun because I'm like, how the hell does that? And I tried different ports and no, just Wi-Fi's out.
That's weird. I got a similar problem. Every time I right click on my mouse, my kitchen sink starts running hot water.
Well, that's within spec.
Oh, is it?
Move over. Oil, wind energy is officially coming to the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, this is a pretty big plan. They're putting a lot of wind out there, or a lot of wind power, I should say. 508,000 square acres is enormous amount of land, and that's enough to power 2.1 million homes and a second one by Lake Charles, Louisiana, 174,000 square acres, powering 740,000 homes. That's a lot.
That is a
That
lot.
isn't an, yeah. And that really is almost as carbon free as you can get, except for the oil, the gas that these construction boats need to use. But besides that, I mean, that's really cutting down on the oil use. So
And when you
that's going
have
to be very impressive.
and when you have too much power in the grid, you can just run it backwards and use it to cool the place down. Don't do that. Don't
Yeah.
do that.
I wonder how well these wind farms will hold up to a hurricane.
You have to figure that's something they've considered.
Yeah.
But,
Oh,
but I don't know
absolutely.
the
I
answer. They certainly would have to engineer them a little more aggressively than they would, I assume, in other locations.
Mm-hmm.
Because 100-mile-an-hour winds ain't no joke.
Not at all. And right there is probably the area that they could get caught in a Category 5 because it's right before it hits landfall. It's just hit all the warm waters, and you could get 150 mile per hour winds on them.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have a plan,
Yeah.
and I'm sure they figured it out. But I'm just out of curiosity, how would those things do? Because
Yeah. Yeah. We'll find out. And
hopefully not for a while.
did you know China's planning an offshore wind farm so big it could power all of Norway?
Pretty big.
Yeah.
I think. How big's Norway?
I don't know either. Changzhou in China, in Guangdong province, is going to build an offshore wind farm so large it could. Again, we're using Norway as a standard metric. You know,
And we don't know what that metric is.
it is well, it's 1.0 Norways. I mean, obviously, 43.3 gigawatts. That's two time travels. In case you're scoring along at home.
Yes, yes.
And it could come online before 2025.
Quickly.
Yeah, it'll be between 47 and 115 miles off the coast.
That's going to be one long ass power cord that has to plug in somewhere.
Yeah, well, it is long enough that you have to wonder what their solution is, but I'm confident they know what they're doing. The area has a unique topographical feature that means the wind would be strong enough to run the turbines between 3,800 to 4,300 hours a year.
How many hours are in a year?
2,000 hours is 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. So
Oh yeah, so 6,000. Oh,
that'd
then
still be
then
5
there's
days a week.
weekend.
So add
Okay,
another 40%.
I'm going 24 times 365. That
There you
seems
go.
like a little bit easier. 8760.
So up to half the time. Oh, 43 to 49% of the time.
We both read the next line
Ah,
at the
what-
same time.
We are rocket scientists up in here.
I'm surprised that the wind's not strong enough to do more than that.
It could also
But,
be that a gentle breeze won't move them because they're so heavy. Because the motor requires so much torque to spin.
Yeah.
But that's very exciting. And large scale wind is affordable. And since they're, I'm just going to tell you right now, built in China already, there's less shipping and taxes and whatnot to deal with.
Permits.
Permits, where we're going, we don't need no stinking permits.
Yeah, exactly. What
Find
permits?
a couple. That's kind of fun. Hey, we are at 5 o'clock. Let's go ahead and do this last story. Why not?
Sure. China EV sales fall as zero COVID curbs rattle the sector. There's been some strange things going on with COVID in China lately, with lockdowns. But then again, I'm seeing all that on social media, so I don't know if it's true or not. But it looks like their sales have dropped off, and they're attributing it to the fact that there's been a lot of different COVID lockdowns and people being put in bubbles and weird things like that.
I've seen some of those. It's fascinating footage.
I just don't know if it's real or not.
The footage?
Well, yeah, I don't know if are they really doing that in China? Are they really having drones fly around and you have to scan your
Oh, I don't know
QR
about
code?
that. What I saw was one on where they were at the airport and a guy tested positive at the airport. So they put him in a pod and pushed him out of the airport in a little sealed container by a couple dudes wearing hazmat suits.
Okay, I saw a video of Chinese people are having to scan a barcode on their phone, and by drone or by stations that they have to stop at, and if your QR code comes back with red or yellow, you get placed in lockdown. If it's green, you're free to move around. So I think it associates people that are around you that you know. If they've been flagged, then you're going to get flagged. Things like that. And you immediately get placed into some sort of quarantine. I also saw a video of people, and they looked Asian, in plastic boxes in a parking lot, waiting for something, but they were all sealed plastic. You're not going to be able to breathe in 10 minutes kind of
Well,
thing.
if you keep them in the original packaging, they're worth more.
What if there's a lack of air and they die? Are they still worth the same amount?
We'll find out. I did want to thank my patrons, all that good stuff, for keeping the channel going. You know, this we have so much fun on the podcast, and this channel doesn't get enough views to be self-sustaining, but I enjoy doing it, and I've got some special fans who sign up at the Bears fans level. So you guys are, without exaggeration, the reason this podcast still exists. So I assume that means people are going to be like, oh, so if I just stop sponsoring it, he'll cancel it. That's an idea.
I quit.
I quit.
Yeah.
I quit. You can't fire me. I quit.
All right. Well, I want to thank my Patreons for being here. You guys are awesome. And like I've said before, you're more awesome than Brian's, because Brian gives all this extra content on his Patreon account and I don't. So I'm giving you guys nothing, and you guys are helping me out, and I appreciate that. And that helps us with our flyovers and pay for it and replace cars that we destroy on the way to Lucid, things like that.
Little
So
stuff.
Little stuff. So thank you all for being there for us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and of course it makes sense that I get more support because, I mean, come on.
That's kind of like the parent who helps out they've got two kids. One is like really good at everything and doesn't need the help. Then there's the kid who's always screwing things up and needs the help. And the parent seems to pay more attention to that kid. I think that's what the situation is here.
Well, you know about the two kids at Christmas, and the one kid for Christmas gets a toy car, and the other kid gets, a Xbox and a Wii and a, bunch of candy and all, just hundreds of items worth thousands and thousands of dollars. And he says to the other brother, I bet you feel pretty terrible, don't you? And he says, at least I don't have cancer. Hey, all this stuff's going to be mine in 6 months anyway.
Oh, wow.
That's a
is
true
dark.
story, I'm pretty sure. I think I read that in the Financial Times. All righty, gang. Well, thanks
That's
for hanging
horrible.
out. That was pretty bad.
All right.
I apologize. And thank you, Bear,
All right.
for your time.
Everybody unlike Brian's video, please. That was
And I will see you guys later. Thanks, Bear.
all right. We'll see you guys later. Thank you, everyone.